I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Chris Lighty of Bronx, New York, who was a prominent music executive and founder of Violator Management, who managed many of hip hop's biggest stars, including Diddy, 50 Cent, Missy Elliott, and Busta Rhymes. This reading was a suggestion from one of my subscribers and viewers. Shouts out to Cheyenne Owens 89 again for suggesting content. I do appreciate when my subscribers and viewers suggest content, and I do add your suggestions to my itinerary. Now, Chris Lighty was a key figure in the music industry for decades, helping artists achieve success and brokering major business deals, and who tragically died by suicide in August 2012 at the age of 44, reportedly after facing financial and personal troubles. He held executive positions at record labels like Def Jam and Jive. Sources indicated that he was dealing with financial difficulties, including a lawsuit over an overdrawn bank account and substantial tax debt and a divorce. Chris was found dead in his backyard of his South Riverdale, Bronx, New York home from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his head. I'm going to pull a chart on Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty did commit suicide. Okay, I just want to let you know that up front. Chris Lighty did commit suicide. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how I saw that and why you can't make this up. But I'm also going to show you what happened, what he was going through, because I saw that too. So, Chris Lighty was born May the 8th, 1968. Okay, and the sun was in Taurus and the moon was in Virgo, and y'all know how I formulate time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycles. So when I put a Virgo moon in Taurus's house, Leo is rising. Okay, when you put a Virgo moon in Taurus's house, which is the second house of money, Leo comes first. This is Chris Lighty's birth chart energy. Okay, and it's no coincidence because Leo energy and the fifth house is the entertainment industry. That is entertainment, theater, celebrations, creativity. Okay, actors, stars. Okay, that's all fifth house activity: lights, cameras, and action. It is also the house of romance and children. Okay, it is the house of hobbies and gifts, talents and abilities. Okay, and we all know Chris Lighty was heavy into that industry. Now, he was an executive. Now, where he is a Taurus, where is Taurus at in his energy? Right here in the 10th house. The 10th house is Capricorn's house. That is the house of the boss. That is the house of public achievement and status. That is the house of the authority figure. That is the house of executives, directors, CEOs, presidents of companies, even presidents of the United States and countries. Okay, the 10th house is the house of kings and queens. Okay, so this is the house of public authority and status. What type of public authority and status the 10th house represents, and where this authority was at is in the fifth house. The fifth house is the entertainment industry. Okay? Now, Aquarius, because this is Leo's house, the fifth house. Aquarius, which is Leo's opposite, represents the members of the entertainment industry. All these different groups, okay? All these different sectors and denominations of the entertainment industry is Aquarius. And that energy is important because we're going to get to that. All right? Now, Chris is right here in the house of executives because his sun was in Taurus and Leo rules the sun. Okay, Leo, when you follow the sun, will let you know what his role was in the entertainment industry. You can't make this shit up. His role was an executive. It's right there. He lived out his destiny. This is why the only way he's dead is if he took his own life. Because when you are living your destiny, you are aligned. No one can touch that alignment or touch your life. Only you can touch your life, and only you can abort the mission. Okay? So the universe is not going to let nobody take you out, because when you are aligned with your purpose, that alone is a craft. People will fuck their whole life up and end up dying trying to come for you, trying to set you up. They cannot do that. No weapon formed against you can prosper when you're aligned. That doesn't go for everybody. That's only when you're aligned. No weapon formed against the one who's aligned can prosper. Okay? So don't be thinking that you can just go out here and do whatever you want to do and live whatever you want to live and talk about no weapon formed against me is going to prosper. Yes, it can. If you're not living the life you're supposed to live, yes, the fuck it can. So, why did Chris Lighty take his life? And how do I know that, other than the fact that I see that he was clearly living out his purpose? I'm going to show you. Let's pull his death chart. Chris Lighty committed suicide August 30th, 2012. On that day, the sun was in Virgo and the moon was in Aquarius. And when you put an Aquarius moon in Virgo's house, which is the sixth house, Virgo is rising. This is a sixth house chart. Virgo is rising. Okay? Now, I look in the house of death, wherever chart I pull, to let me know, gives me an idea on what energy is responsible for their death. In Chris Lighty's death chart, when I look in the house of death, which is the eighth house, I see Aries. This is how I know he committed suicide. Anytime you see Aries, which is the energy of self, it is self-inflicted. Aries rules the head. Aries rules the first house. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Okay? Aries rules the self. The body part of Aries is the head. Okay? So, in the house of death, which is Scorpio's house, which is the eighth house, when you see Aries in the eighth house, that lets me know, even if I didn't know whether Chris Lighty committed suicide or not, and I was told to do a reading on him because nobody knew what happened, I would tell you he committed suicide, and I would show you why. Because Aries in the house of death represents a self-inflicted death. And he shot himself in the head, which is what Aries rules, the head. Okay? So, what I wanted to do the reading on, being that we already know he committed suicide, this just had to confirm it, is why. We're going to talk about why. And in order to talk about why, you don't look in the person's death chart. I look in their birth chart in the house of death. That's going to let me know why. Now, in Chris Lighty's death energy in his birth chart, I see Pisces. Pisces is the energy of smoke and mirrors. It is the energy of all things that are not clear. Deception. Pisces is the energy of the hidden realm, shadows. Pisces rules the 12th house. Chris Lighty's death was marked with deception. He was being deceived. Who was he being deceived by? Let's look inside of Pisces' house. Pisces is the 12th house. What's going on in the 12th house? Cancer. Cancer energy is the mother, the family, the home, people close to him, people that have a history with him. Cancer is the energy of home, family, the mother, history, family tradition, upbringing, the way he was raised, all of that. All of that played a role in deceiving him. Now, what's in the 12th house the day that Chris Lighty actually committed suicide? You see Leo. Leo came first in his birth chart because that let us know he was in the entertainment industry. So who were these close people that represented Cancer energy if they weren't his family? They were his entertainment family in the industry. You know how I know that? Remember when I told you Aquarius is the opposite of Leo? Aquarius represents the group members and the different denominations and sectors of the entertainment industry. Aquarius rules the 11th house, okay? And in the 11th house, the day Chris committed suicide, you see the close people from the industry that was responsible for deceiving him. This was about his money. You know how I know that? Because look in the house of money. Chris's moon was in Virgo, and it was in the house of money. Chris was the type of person, he did not play about his money. Okay? However, he didn't really express that too much because the moon rules Cancer, and any place that you see, whatever house you see, whatever sign you see in the 12th house represents what sign is the least developed in us, which is what gives other people an advantage over us. These close people knew that Chris did not show how serious he was about his money. Chris didn't play when it came to his money, but he didn't show that because the 12th house represents what you sacrifice in order to keep the peace. Okay? So this is what gave his enemies an advantage. We all have a 12th house energy. Whatever sign you have here represents what you sacrifice in order to keep the peace. Because Pisces energy in the 12th house is all about sacrifice and what we hide. Okay? And the hidden motives behind what we hide. These motivations turn into shadows. This is why the 12th house is the house of shadow work. Okay? Now, why do I know his money was the reason for these deceptions? Is because the day Chris Lighty committed suicide, look what comes first. Virgo. That is the energy that governs his money. This is how I know this was about Chris's money. Okay? So, Chris had business partnerships with people who were trying to play him. Some of them did play him. They psyched him out because Pisces energy represents the human psyche. Remember when you playing with somebody and okay, let's say if somebody come to you and be like, look, your mother got hit by a car. And now you hysterical, you all over the place because in your head, just by somebody telling you your mother got hit by a car, even if it's somebody that you know and you believe everything they say, okay, and they tell you your mother got hit by a car, you're going to be hysterical. Why are you so hysterical and you don't even know if your mother got hit by a car or not? Because in your head, she got hit by a car because that's what they said. That is the human psyche. Now, when I say psych, your mother didn't get hit by a car. I was just playing. Psych. Remember that word? That's where Pisces comes from. Pisces comes from the psyche. Okay? So, that is our Pisces energy. When you are psyched out, you know how many people got fucked up and killed because they were psyched out? You know how many people went out here and killed others because they were psyched out? Not directly, but indirectly. That is the 12th house. That is the advantage that 12th house energy people have over you. And this is the advantage that caused him to be deceived. In the house of death, I see deception. And then I see suicide. I'm going to give Chris a voice because I'm going to let Chris tell it. Y'all know energy don't lie. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. Chris Lighty, what happened to you? Why did you commit suicide? Chris Lighty was born May 8th, 1968. He committed suicide August 30th, 2012. Why did you commit suicide, Chris Lighty? What was going on with you? I'm going to pull 3 cards, Chris. Tell us what was going on with you. What was going on with Chris Lighty that made him commit suicide? Y'all ready for these 3 cards? 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Energy don't lie. Energy does not fucking lie. Okay? Look at that. Capricorn. The 10th house is Capricorn's house. I told you that. The 10th house is where This Taurus, he's a Taurus. Remember, I told you the 10th house is the house of executives, the house of directors, CEOs, the GOAT, the boss, the king, the queen, the one in charge. That's Capricorn's house. Okay? Now, where was Capricorn actually at? Capricorn is the authority figure, but this is Capricorn's house. Chris is a Taurus in Capricorn's house. So his money, his financial status was in authority, but he was also a Taurus. His son was there. Capricorn was in the 6th house. Okay? Look at Capricorn right here. This is the symbol of Capricorn. It's in the 6th house. That's Virgo's house. Whatever you see in red represents whose house it is. Virgo, the 6th house. Whatever you see in black represents who's there. Capricorn is there. This represents the manager. 6th house represents the workforce. What we do on a daily routine. Your daily routine work. When Capricorn is there, it represents the manager. He was a manager. Okay? So, this was about his management position. Okay, now his management position in the 6th house is what came first the day he disappeared. Look at that 6th house. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Do you see how I connect the dots? Okay, you see how time connected the dots. Okay, and then you see how the oracle connected the dots because there is a synchronicity between time and energy. The cycles are real. Okay, astrology is real. And so is oracle. You got to know how to read it. Okay. The 6th house, he's telling us this is what came first. And look where Capricorn is in the 6th house. It's in the 5th house. Look what Chris pulled. The 5th house. He's not lying. He pulled a 5th house card. Okay. Saturn rules Capricorn. What are the odds that out of a deck full of planets and signs and houses, that everything came out aligned according to Chris's story? You cannot make this shit up. Saturn rules Capricorn. That is the planet that belongs to our Capricorn energy. Okay? Saturn rules the 10th house, and so does Capricorn. Where was Saturn at the day Chris committed suicide? Because he didn't pull this card for no reason. Saturn was in Libra. Libra is the spouse. Where was Libra at the day he committed suicide? Libra is right there in the house of money. What is his wife doing in the house of money? Divorce. So now the money everything has to be divided. Somebody's going to be left without a pot to piss in or window to throw it out of, based on whatever goes on in that divorce. And guess who that person was? You got it. Rest in peace to Chris Lighty. Rest in peace to Chris Lighty. Because it did not have to be that way. Okay? You have some wicked people in this world that will take advantage of you, that are close to you. Some of us, we marry these wicked people. And we don't do no shadow work. So the spirit realm never reveals to us who our enemies are and who our friends are. That's why it's important to do shadow work. My heart goes out to Chris's family and those that really fucked with him, those that really loved him. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I listened to what Busta Rhymes had to say about Chris Lighty. I listened to all of the allegations between Puff Daddy and back when he was puffing. I watched all of those. My heart really goes out to people who are really out here trying to make it because they know this is their calling. And you know how I know that too? Because in Chris's birth chart, his death energy, Aries, was in the 9th house. That's Sagittarius' house. That is the house of higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's where you get your calling. That is the house of religion, spirituality, your culture, what you believe in, your faith. I'm clearly seeing Chris he has some issues going on with his faith. Okay? I'm seeing, whether the people knew about it or not, Chris was battling with his beliefs and culture. He may have been battling with what he was raised to believe that gave him a picture of people that made him feel deceived. They said, hold up now. According to what I believe in, something ain't adding up. Things were not adding up. Things were not adding up for him. There's a strong ninth house connection. This is Sagittarius's house. And Leo comes first. Leo rules the fifth house. And if you look in Leo's house, the fifth house, which is over here, number 5, what do you see? Sagittarius. This is Sagittarius' house. Aries is Chris Lighty's death energy of suicide. So his battle with his beliefs is directly linked to his suicide and these people that were playing on his emotions, deceiving him, gaslighting him, taking advantage of him, especially financial advantage of him. Be aware of the circle that you keep. Rest in peace to Chris Lighty. That's my reading on Chris Lighty, and I'm sticking to it. That fifth house. That's his house. That's where he was born. Rest in peace. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop these investigations. Y'all be blessed.